Let's get some insight on this issue. We welcome Anil Gupta. He's a professor at the Smith School of Business at the University of Maryland, specializing in strategy, globalization, and entrepreneurship. Professor, welcome to our program.
Pleasure.
Some staggering numbers here. $2.8 trillion in value wiped out in just 3 weeks. One moment the Chinese stock market is up, one moment is down. Why are we seeing so much volatility, and are you surprised by it?
No, I'm not surprised by the volatility. In fact, some of my friends, a couple of weeks back, they were asking me, should I be investing in China, Chinese A shares? And I said, right now, I would sell 100% of anything that you're holding on Chinese A shares. What really has happened is that, see, as the Chinese individuals, what people call retail investors, that obviously property is not the place to invest anymore. And so if you can't invest in property, or you want to take some money out of what you invested in property, what do you do with it? Because interest rates, of course, from the banks are very low. You can put the money under the mattress. So essentially, retail investors were looking for where can they put the money. And of course, there are limits on how much money they can take out of China to invest, let's say, in global equities. And so therefore, what's left really is investing in Chinese equities. So, and so some trigger or the other had to get this bubble going, whether it is the Stock Connect with Hong Kong, whether it is, the merger of China Northern Rail and China Southern Rail, whether it is AIIB. But I look at all of those as really triggers that something or the other.
So you're not concerned at all by the huge fluctuations we've seen in this wild market?
No, I'm concerned. Okay. In fact, one would not want these kind of wild gyrations. But what I would say is that the gyrations are not unexpected. That doesn't mean that they are good.
Professor, are you concerned at all about ramifications here beyond Asia, perhaps in other parts of the world?
Not at this time. And the reason I would say no is because right now, it is not a global bubble. It is not a regional bubble in Asia. So if you look at equities in Southeast Asia, in Singapore, in India, in other parts of it, or even Japan or South Korea, we don't see a bubble. So what we see is a very local bubble, and that's really around Chinese shares. And in any case, of course, while foreign investors can invest in Chinese A shares, there are still significant limits on how much they can invest. So therefore, this is very much, I would say, an isolated problem without much potential for contagion, either to other parts of Asia or beyond Asia.
So many people had to borrow money to invest. Now they've lost that money, and they still have to pay back the money they borrowed. What is your advice to these people, and also to jittery investors who are, in lack of better words, are completely freaking out here?
Oh, yes. And in fact, I mean, I think, come next week, the downside risks are higher than upside risks. And so therefore, anybody who has got margin loans and who has invested in China A shares, right now, it's really a case of try and figure out how you can essentially liquidate your positions in China A shares, pay your margin loans, and the sooner you can do that, the better. Because what you don't want to do is really catch a falling knife. And I think the risks of the index, Shanghai index, a week from now, or Shenzhen, the risks of it being lower than what it is right now are higher than the risks of it being at the same level or being higher.
So what are the steps that you think the Chinese government should be taking right now? They've already taken a number of steps. What about policy moves that we can expect that could affect the market as well?
See, I think, I mean, my perspective is, and in fact, the policy moves that the Chinese government undertook on Thursday in the hope of kind of bolstering the stock market. But if you look at what happened on Friday, actually, these moves did not help. And so, that's a direct evidence. But of course, we have evidence from other countries, other economies, that governments, they should really not intervene in the capital markets. What the government should do is really focus on the real economy and not the stock market, and let the stock market gyrations take place. Because otherwise what happens is that the system does not learn, that the people do not learn, or they derive the wrong lessons. And the way to avoid or reduce the risks of the next bubble a few months or a few years down the road is to actually let that learning take place.
And the government did say they will investigate possible manipulation of the stock market here. Professor Anil Gupta, thank you so much for explaining a very complicated topic to us. Thank you.